Welcome to Running Hot, Action Network's motorsports betting podcast. I'm your host, Nick Giffen, predictive analyst here at Action Network, and joining me, my co-host, Stephen Young of RotoGrinders, better known as Stevie TPFL. And this week, we're previewing the Xfinity 500 at Martinsville Speedway here on Running Hot. Last weekend at Talladega, Chase Briscoe locked himself into the championship race at Phoenix by taking the win at Talladega over Todd Gilliland and his JGR teammate who pushed him to the win, Ty Gibbs, rounding out the top three. That is Chase Briscoe's first career drafting track win and his first time in the playoffs. I should say not in the playoffs, in the championship for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, so the championship round. So, Stevie, what do you think of Talladega? And then we'll talk playoffs.
Yeah, I thought Talladega was good. I mean, obviously we had a little bit of fuel saving, but we saw a lot of aggressive racing throughout the entire day. I think there was a lot of, hey, points matter. We need to finish well. And, shout out to Chase Briscoe. Made an awesome move. His teammate went with him. He doesn't win that race without Ty Gibbs. And Ty Gibbs doesn't have a win. And there's a lot of pressure behind Ty Gibbs of, when is he going to win and all this stuff. And you know what? Hats off to him. He pushed his teammate to a championship 4 win. So, Chase Briscoe definitely needs to give a hat to Ty Gibbs. And Ty Gibbs, awesome teammate. And I'm glad you made a note that his teammate Ty Gibbs, because it was really cool. I was cheering for Todd Gilliland so much at the end of that race, but I think Briscoe winning is kind of fitting. He's having a fantastic year, getting locked in, and it makes this weekend at Martinsville just so exciting. There's so much to kind of figure out what's going on this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And he did something the former driver of the number 19 car never did, win a drafting track race. So, we always talked about how Chase Briscoe, he's looking good at some of the tracks Truex looked good at. Well, now he's looking good everywhere. So Chase Briscoe, a real championship contender. I thought that race was entertaining. I thought it was a very good race. Obviously, we had a little bit of fuel issues and fuel savings, right? Larson ran out of fuel on that late restart and had to kind of pull out of line, and did a great job of not, wrecking the whole field there when that happened. So really entertaining race. Congrats to Chase Briscoe on locking into the Final Four along with Denny Hamlin. So those two are into Phoenix, locked in. And then the point standings after that, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson are the two drivers good on points right now. And I say right now because that could obviously change with a win by the 4 drivers on the outside: William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, or Chase Elliott. And those 4 drivers, William Byron is 36 points behind Kyle Larson, 37 behind Christopher Bell. You have to think everybody from Byron, Logano, Blaney, and Elliott is got to be thinking win is our only chance to get in to Phoenix. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, barring an absolute catastrophe. So if one of those 4 don't win, we probably have our Final Four locked in, right, Stevie?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Simple answer to your question, yes. I think that when you're looking at this, Byron, Logano, Blaney, Elliott, they're all in must-win situations. And what's crazy is they're all very good at Martinsville. So, I mean, any of these 4 can win. Bell's very good at Martinsville. Larson's been fast in Martinsville lately. So, anything can happen this weekend. I mean, if we look at the next-gen car, Larson's first, Blaney's third, Elliott's fourth, Logano's sixth, Byron's 7th, Bell is 8th in speed. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really fun weekend. We're going to get sick of hearing playoff talk by the end of the race on Sunday, but it's warranted this weekend because, I mean, all these guys are good. It's top end drivers. It's a few drivers that we had going into the, final. So I mean, personally, I think Blaney probably has the best chance to win. But Chase Elliott's been really good at Martinsville lately. So I would put those two neck and neck with Byron and Logano kind of playing catch up here.
Yeah, but if one of those 4 don't win, Byron, Logano, Blaney, or Elliott, we still have a points battle. Or I should say, if one of them do, we still have a points battle between Bell and Larson. So for that final spot, if we do get one of those bottom 4 guys as a win. So it's going to be very important for Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell to still grab stage points, but also not do so in an unnecessary way that'll shuffle them pretty far back in the pack, right? Like staying out and then pitting under caution and losing all that track position, that kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to watch the points battle between Bell and Larson as well, especially if it looks like one of those four is going to be a winner. And you mentioned it. Every single one of these playoff drivers that are in the top 8 right now, including Hamlin and Briscoe, who are locked in, they all can win Martinsville. They're all very good at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin won earlier this year. Chase Briscoe finished 4th earlier this year at Martinsville, or I should say 9th. And then Christopher Bell finished 2nd. Kyle Larson finished 5th, right? Like even the 4 guys that are to the good right now are 4 of the best at Martinsville. So it's going to be an absolutely epic race between these playoff drivers. And we'll still have some drivers outside of the playoffs that'll put up some strong contention as well. So let's talk about Martinsville. Martinsville is a half-mile flat track. They call it the paperclip because, it's 2 180-degree turns with 2 relatively long, for the overall size of the track, relatively long straightaways. A lot of the, Martinsville is going on those straightaways, and the turns are really tight. So half-mile track, flat track. Talk about racing at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, it's unique. Like you just said, it's a flat track with very little room. One typical racing groove. We sometimes see the second groove in the corner get going a little bit, but I mean, you want to restart on bottom. You want to stay on the lead lap because it's so hard to get a lap back here. So, I mean, there's so much that happens at Martinsville just in general because of, fast cars eventually catch slower cars, and it's really hard to pass even lap cars, and that kind of bunches the fast cars back up. So it's a very unique racetrack. It was one of my favorites before the next gen era. I'm hoping that we can figure it out, but really track position has been king at Martinsville with this next gen car.
Absolutely. Track position at a lot of the short flats have been king, but especially at Martinsville, where it's just so tight and passing is so difficult, and especially in this next gen car. So we'll see. Hopefully we have a new tire, Stevie, that has been tested that they'll be running. So we'll get some practice on it. Hopefully that'll make a difference. So talk about, if you think this new tire will make a difference, and any other ways here we're handicapping Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, they keep talking about how soft this left side tire is, and it would make a difference. I mean, we don't typically talk a lot about left side tires in general. Right side tires are typically what we talk about a lot, but left side tires at a track like this where it's really flat and you're, trying to get up on the wheel and turning a lot in these corners, like definitely going to matter if it is a very soft tire and kind of managing fall off. So, I mean, shout out to Goodyear. I feel like they're doing a really good job over the last year and a half on like trying to play catch up to this car. And I feel like, we saw it at Bristol. I know the circumstances was a little different at Bristol, but they're bringing softer tires. We're getting fall off. We saw it at Richmond. So I hope that with this left side tire, we're going to see fall off where we might see more passing later in runs. I mean, we get 60, 70, 80 lap runs here at Martinsville from time to time. So I hope so. It's really tough to say. It's tough to say before we look at practice, and we'll look at practice and we'll be like, all right, at 20, there's not this much difference. 30, where are we at on 30 and 40 laps? They'll get that many laps here in practice because of how short this track is. So, I think practice is going to tell us a lot about the tire, but overall, track position just matters so much at this racetrack. So qualifying well, going out late in qualifying is going to matter. So those playoff drivers definitely going to have an advantage in qualifying.
Absolutely. Playoff drivers will have an advantage in qualifying. And so, again, brand new left side tire. It's supposed to be much softer, more lap time fall off over the course of the run, quoting Goodyear there. So hopefully that'll be good. The right side tire is the same as used Martinsville earlier this year. Also was used at Bowman Gray, North Wilkesboro, Richmond, and most recently New Hampshire. So any other things for Martinsville? We talked about practice. We talked about track position. How about, just handicapping Martinsville, like track history, similar tracks?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Any other thing? I think the biggest thing that we talk about at Martinsville every year with this current playoff setup is like team orders and manufacturer orders. I don't think it matters as much this weekend, but like I think it matters in the aspect of like Bell and Larson. Like we could potentially see a Chevy or a Toyota. I wouldn't necessarily say move over in the second part of this race, but I think that like it is definitely there's going to be code names because some teams got in trouble a couple years ago in this race. But I think that's one of the like intangibles that you have to think about is like if you are potentially looking at like a fringy top 10 bet, is that going to affect your top 10 bet? I mean, so because I think wasn't it Austin Dillon last year or a year before where he was just like so fast and just would not pass anybody at the end of the race because of like
Yeah.
manufacturer orders. So
He and Ross Chastain formed a Chevy blockade for everybody behind them and just kept
yeah,
William Byron in front of him. That was last year.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean, I think a lot. I mean, I think the other thing you got to think about is like this race has a really bad taste in Christopher Bell's mouth from last year, where he was riding the wall and lost his playoff 4 spot. So, I mean, this is a drama filled race. This is exactly what they want for Martinsville. This is exactly what they want for the playoffs. And with the must win and how close Bell and Larson is, I mean, just know that there's going to be a lot of drama this weekend. I mean, that's one of the things that like you can't really predict, but you just have to in the back of your head know that there's going to be a lot of drama this weekend.
Yeah, I really like that point about the fringe top tens, and it would most relate to Bell and Larson since they're the ones that are most likely to have to fight for points if we get a new winner from those 4 on the outside looking in, which means that doesn't apply to the Fords, right? So you can still do those fringe top 10 bets for the Fords because we're not really looking at points for Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano. That's just for the win. So, if Joey Logano is trying to pass for 10th place, Ford isn't just going to let him buy to pass for 10th because that's not going to do anything for Joey Logano. So I think those fringe top 10 bets kind of do take a little bit of a hit for the Chevy and the Toyota camp, just very marginal. I mean, I'm not talking massive, but if you're thinking about a top 10 bet where I'm showing very marginal value, probably don't bet it simply because that marginal value is the part that gets taken away for those Chevys and Toyotas. But if you have big value, I think it's still fine to take a top 10 bet on some guys on the outside looking in. So that will do it for our Martinsville preview. Let's dive into the bets. As always, we'll drive through the race stage by stage with a shorter odds pick in stage 1, then a longer odds bet in stage 2. Finally, we'll race through stage 3 and end up in victory lane with our combined favorite bet. So we're going to throw the green flag on the Xfinity 500 and fire off for stage 1. All right, stage 1 here, Stevie. I like this one. This is interesting. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, so my model is showing value on this one, and my eyes are showing value on this one. The eye test, this one passes. Momentum-wise, this passes. So it's a group bet. It's group 6, and then some are like group letters. But I checked a couple different books, and they have this, and it's all very close odds-wise. So on Hard Rock, it's group 6. It's Suarez, Zane Smith, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones. And I'm going to Zane Smith here at plus 275. So I have these guys, I mean, very, very close just in general, all of them, with McDowell a little bit higher than everybody else. But Zane Smith has just been really good on short flats this season. He had a lot of speed at the end of the Martinsville race. And if we look at the end of that race, like he was much better than the other 3 speed-wise. And just where his current momentum is at. I know Eric Jones has some current momentum, but like Zane is, we don't know if he's locked into this car for next year or not. They really haven't said much in this whole organization on like what their plans are for next year. So I think Zane just needs to keep having good races. I mean, it definitely sounds like Daniel Suarez is going to Spire next year. So like maybe he's not as worried about where he's going to finish and stuff like that. But I like Zane a lot in this like group. This is an early week, my model showing value type of bet. And I mean, again, like if I look at current momentum and the eye test, I mean, I think Zane has been running better than almost all these guys. So yeah, I mean, I have McDowell maybe slightly ahead of all 4 of these guys, but I'm going with Zane at plus 275 here.
Yeah, earlier this year, Michael McDowell finished 12th. Zane Smith finished 16th. Daniel Suarez 21st. And Eric Jones got disqualified, but he finished a lap down anyway, so he would have been in the mid-20s. So, McDowell would have won this group earlier this year, but the thing about Michael McDowell is that was his best Martinsville finish for quite some time. So, definitely I would, based off earlier this year results, give the nod to McDowell, but I think actually overall I probably would give the nod to Zane in this group as well. So getting plus 275 on him when I make him the group favorite out of these four, I think is pretty solid. So I'm right there with you. I like this bet, and Zane Smith to win that group with Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones as the other drivers is Stevie's stage one pick. For my stage one pick, I'm going right back to the guy that's just cranking out top fives left and right. That's Chase Briscoe, last weekend's winner at Talladega. And I don't see any reason why Chase Briscoe wouldn't be running super strong here. They want to prepare for Phoenix. And this is one of the tracks that can kind of help you do this. They were already planning on being really strong here in case they didn't win Talladega. So, they're going to be bringing an absolute strong car here for Chase Briscoe. And the only thing, you might have to worry about is, does he make way for a Christopher Bell? But he can still finish second if Christopher Bell wins, or third or fourth or fifth. So I love this bet. He finished ninth here earlier this year, but he's been really good at Martinsville. He had in 2023 and that Stewart-Haas car that was just garbage that year. He finished 30th in the standings that year in 2023, but he finished 5th at Martinsville and 4th at Martinsville that year. And he's had other top 10 finishes. He's had a 9th at Martinsville, 2 nights at Martinsville the year before in that Stewart-Haas car. So, I think Chase Briscoe is ready for some more top 5 finishes. This has always been a good track for Martin Truex Jr., and this has always been a good track for Chase Briscoe. So Chase Briscoe plus 260. I think that's crazy that he's plus 260 for a top 5. He's like a full tier below in odds, like the Logano Byron Bell tier. It's crazy. I think he should be right up there with that tier.
Yeah, I think Briscoe and Hamlin's goal this weekend is just win. How do I potentially keep somebody out of the playoffs? Like Ryan Blaney. I don't think anybody wants to see Ryan Blaney at Phoenix. Just how good Penske has been at Phoenix in the fall, the last, 2 or 3 years. So
Yep.
I don't think anybody wants to see Ryan Blaney there. So, if you're Briscoe, and Kyle Larson's best track is not Phoenix. So I would rather have Larson and Bell potentially in over a guy like Blaney. So I think if you're Briscoe and Hamlin, you're trying to win this race. And obviously these cars were set up well ahead of Talladega. So, I think that's a great point by you on Briscoe. So momentum's a thing. If they can go out and they can have a really good run here, momentum going into one of his better tracks, Briscoe's a legit, contender to win the championship next weekend. So I think momentum is important. I think a good run is important. And I think that strategy-wise, Briscoe and Hamlin, they want to win this race. So I don't mind this one at all.
Yeah, and it's an important race to win if you're trying to win the championship. Last year, I should say the winner of Martinsville last year finished second in the championship race at Phoenix. The winner of Martinsville in 2023 finished second in the championship, won the championship, finished second in the race. That was Ryan Blaney again. And then in 2022, if we go back, the winner of Martinsville didn't finish in the top couple in the championship, but finished third in the championship. So, it's important to be strong at Martinsville because it does have at least some similarities to Phoenix, not a ton, but a little bit more than, most of the other tracks in the playoffs, bar maybe New Hampshire this year. So, I think it's an important race to win, and Chase Briscoe looks really strong, and I think that's going to be a strong team and a strong car. Plus 260 for a top 5. I just love that price too. So to recap stage 1, group 6 or a letter group, Stevie has taken Zane Smith over Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones at plus 275. And I'm taking Chase Briscoe top 5 at plus 260. So that'll do it for stage 1. Throw the green and white checkered on that stage, come in, get some fuel and some tires. Before we move on, don't forget to sign up for Action Pro for real-time pick alerts from experts like Brandon Anderson, Chris Raybon, Stuckey, myself, and our entire Action Network team. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with the promo code POD20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use the promo code POD20. That's POD20 to get a year off of Action Pro. All right, Stevie, stage 2 here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go to a team that we know absolutely loves to test stuff when they get eliminated from playoffs. And Ryan Preece, top 10, plus 350. My model is showing a lot of value on this one. Actually, one of the most value bets that I've had in weeks, early anyway. So Ryan Preece is really good at short flats. We've known that. We've talked about it many times. Martinsville, he has finished inside the top 15 in 4 of his 5 next-gen races here. We know that the equipment is a lot better here with RFK than it was last season, and he didn't necessarily have great speed when we were here earlier this year and still finished 7th. So their average running position was bad, but they made good calls on pit road. They got better as the day went along, and he had one of the lowest driver ratings to finish inside the top 15. But I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at how good this racetrack is for him. I think they're going to have 3 very different kind of setups for 3 cars that are really good at Martinsville. Martinsville is a key factor in the regular season. Short flats is very important, new tires. So I'm going to go to a guy that's really good at maintaining his stuff. I don't necessarily need him to win this race, but if the tire is going to fall off and we are going to have a lot of tire wear, give me a guy like Ryan Preece who's good at managing his stuff long term. So I'm going Preece top 10 here at plus 350. Again, I'm just showing a lot of value on this one here early in the week.
I love this. I'm gonna have to tail this one. 7th earlier this year, like you said. He finished 14th last year in the second Martinsville race in 2024 in that Stewart-Haas car, but then 9th earlier that year. And in 2023, while he only finished 15th and 20th in the spring race, he led the most laps. He started on pole. Just kind of got shuffled back on some strategy stuff as well. I don't fully recall that race because that was the same weekend as the Long Beach Grand Prix that Kyle Kirkwood won that I was at. But I believe he got shuffled back on some strategy stuff there, but it was really one of the best cars in 2023 there at Martinsville. So I like this bet a lot. I think this is also a Ford, and we talked about the marginal value for the top 10s on some of these guys. Well, it doesn't have to be with the Fords. It's more so with the Chevys and the Toyotas in case Bell and Larson are fighting on points there at the end. So this doesn't fall victim to that as well. So just another added benefit there. For my stage 2 pick, I'm going to go Bubba Wallace for a top 5 finish. Bubba Wallace is just so good at short flat tracks these days. He always has been, but he's really kicked it up another level, in 2025. He finished 3rd here earlier this year, was definitely one of the best cars, was one of the top cars in my practice flags. And then, he absolutely dominated Richmond, where we used this right side tire and a softer left side tire, a different softer left side tire at Richmond. Absolutely dominated that race. And of course had some bad luck on pit road to finish 28th, but he was clearly the best car at Richmond. So, I think this is a spot where we're going right back to the Bubba Wallace at short flat well, because it is working. It has been working. Obviously bad luck can happen and you can get that Richmond kind of finish, but just as far as speed, Bubba Wallace has just been far and away one of the better cars at short flats this year. I would say, in that top 6 or 8 drivers overall, and in certain spots is a top 3 or 5 or even a race winning car at short flat tracks. So getting 5-1 on him for a top 5 finish seems pretty crazy. So I love that. I think, he finishes top 5 here way better than 1 every 6 tries, which is all you need to do to break even. Like I said, 3rd earlier this year, 4th at the Martinsville race in the spring last year. So 2 of the last 3 Martinsville races, he has pulled this off, and he's 5-1. So I love that pick.
Yeah, he was really good late in runs too. Earlier this year, he had a lot of speed late in runs and ranked 3rd in green flag speed behind Hamlin and Elliott. Like, I think he legitimately had a car to win the race earlier this year. So, like, that's when you're getting that at plus 500 for a top 5, it looks really good for sure.
Yeah. So to recap stage 2, Stevie has Ryan Preece for a top 10 at plus 350. I've got Bubba Wallace for a top 5 finish at 5-1. So that'll do it for stage 2. We'll throw the green and white checkered on that. Drive through stage 3, and of course, cross the start finish line to take the checkered flag and make our way into victory lane. And we're going right back to this guy, Stevie, for our victory lane pick, Bubba Wallace. But we're going to take his top 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite bet of the week is Bubba's top 10 at plus 145. I mean, I think that whether you want to do the top 5 or not, that's fine. But like this bet just screams value. This bet should not be plus money. When you're looking at the data and you're looking at the speed rankings and everything, like there's no way a guy that is inside the top 10 in speed with like 1 or 2 really bad races still should be plus money for a top 10. I mean, he's just been so good at Martinsville. We've talked about it for years. Even when he was with Petty, like he had good runs at Martinsville. It's one of his best overall tracks. And like, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins this race. Like that's how good he has been at Martinsville. If he can get a good qualifying lap down, I mean, he has been like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, like in that range. Like if he could qualify like top 3, this is a guy that is a legit contender to win this race, not even just finish inside the top 10. And because of the playoff situation and because of all the stuff that's going on with the playoffs, like the odds are really good. And, you know, we just have to take advantage of this odd situation and the value of this bet. And like I said, I think that this has a lot of value. And you're not necessarily worried really about Bubba. Like Bell is in a good spot points wise. Hamlin and Briscoe are now in. Like if you're JGR, you're rooting for Bubba to go win this race. I mean, if Bell's not winning this race, because like where the points are at, Bell would have to have a terrible day for anybody to catch him points wise. So, yeah, I like Bubba a lot this week. Obviously, I'm with you on the top 5. I think that he has the ability to win this race.
Absolutely. So, you know, if you can't get plus 145, so FanDuel actually, as we're recording this, took their top 10 odds down. That's where the plus 145 was. But there's a plus 140 at Hard Rock. There's a plus 130 at Bet365. Even DraftKings has a plus 110. Stevie and I are, I think, both pretty good with this if you can get a plus in front of that number instead of a minus.
And just,
yeah,
I just wanted to make one more note about Bubba. He's the last like non-playoff car to qualify. So he is in that very late group 2 situation because of his finish last week. Like, so just remember that too. Like qualifying obviously matters a lot at Martinsville. Going out late matters a lot at Martinsville. So Bubba's in a really good spot qualifying wise. And that just kind of talks to your top 5 and our top 10 that we both like. Like, I don't think you're going to get better odds than what you're getting on Bubba is kind of my point. Just here early in the week.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point about qualifying as well. He'll be the 9th last car out to go qualifying, which is a huge advantage. So like you said, he'll be in that late group, that last group to go. And hopefully it'll grab him a good starting spot for our bets. And that'll do it for us. Thank you for listening to the Xfinity 500 episode of Running Hot, Action Network's motorsports betting podcast. If you'd like to tail some of the bets we discussed today, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. Go to actionnetwork.com/bet now. We'll be back next week to talk bets for the NASCAR Cup Series championship race at Phoenix Raceway. On behalf of my co-host, Stephen Young, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you back here next week on Running Hot from Action Network.